Welcome to Dyspraxic Rosie Writes, a channel where we talk about dyspraxia, chronic illness, and the writing life. In this video, I am going to go over a question I often get, which is, what is this? What is this? What is this? And what is this? These, what they all have in common is that they are what's known as fidget toys, known as fidgets for short, or stim toys for short, which stands for self-stimulatory. And that basically what they do is they offer a form of therapeutic object. That's what I describe it as, at least, to people who are neurodivergent. As a dyspraxic person with sensory processing issues, I find my little collection here of fidgets very, very useful for everything from stress to overexcitement to in concentration. I mean, by the time I was a very little girl, when I first started going on computers, my family would notice that I did this a lot. And that is a classic example of stimming, self-stimulatory behavior meant to calm you down when you're overwhelmed or too excited. And the thing about that is, back then I didn't really have fidget toys because I didn't really know what they were, and it didn't occur to me that they would be something that I could use. And the thing about them is that in some circles, they can be considered quite stigmatizing, especially as you get older as an adult, because obviously there's that word toy in front of it, and we're very much encouraged not to seek the tactile object. But fidgets tend to come in a variety of different materials. I've seen everything from elastic to silicone to metal to plastic fidgets. And they are so diverse in terms of what they're like that they cater to a variety of sensory needs. For example, this one you're looking at here, my microphone is probably picking up that very powerful click noise. Whereas something like this is about the experience of holding on to an object like this, similar to a stress ball. If you have ever seen stress balls in offices or anything like that, then this will look very familiar. In fact, when I first showed this to my spouse's physio, who coincidentally subscribes to this channel, so if she's listening, then hello. But, and it was interesting that she pointed out that this was a very good for your wrist strength kind of thing. But for me, though, it's a helpful form of release when, because of my sensory issues, I am feeling particularly excited or overwhelmed or worried about something. And something about that repetitive motion of just having this in my hands and going like this is very helpful. Although, if you're worried about it in the context of like a workplace or a shared living space or your peers, then I recommend going for something that's much more discreet in terms of fidgets. Like, I have a few of these, and these ones I have specifically for that purpose. And they're great because you can just like have them in your pocket and just be grabbing them. You see there's these, there's one that's blue, and there's one that's red, and you can hide them in your hands, you can have them in your pockets, and then you can still have a fidget, but not worry about what other people think. I will sometimes have these on Zoom calls, or even walking out in public, or traveling someplace. And really no one will question it because they'll barely be aware of it. But this one is the most famous one of all, the fidget spinner, that was all the rage back in the 2010s. I remember seeing these everywhere, and it was amazing because it normalized the concept of fidgets being around, and it was really the first time I saw it talked about in a widespread, mainstream sort of way. This one here is one I managed to get for free at the NIDEX conference in Birmingham, UK. You'll see here, if any of you are transit nerds, this will be particularly cool, that this has GWR on it, which is one of Britain's major train companies. And I went and I had a conversation with the guy there about some of their recently introduced policies to support their disabled customers. And he just had a bin of these, and he said, oh, you want one? And it's amazing. I love just using it from time to time. And for the first time in my life, I get what all the rage is about these. And then I have this one, which I got at my local mall here. I found in a toy store. And yeah, it's kind of got that Poppet effect, where you can just go like that. And somehow that's calming because it's a repetitive motion and it's a soft plastic material. Or there's this one I got at a dollar store in Canada, which he's a cute little octopus, and you can just either get the top of his head, or there's little Poppet elements right here. But, you know, whether fidgets are a good choice for you depends, because the act of stimming is such an individualized process. Like, stimming can look everything from making repetitive sounds to moving your body in a repetitive way. So really, that's why stim toys aren't really the right choice for everyone. But the only way you can really know for sure is by trying them out when you see them in stores and such, and seeing if, like, you like that idea of that extra bit of sound when you're working on something, or you like the idea of just being able to, like, get your concentration back by spinning this for a little while, or you like the idea of having these in your pocket. But maybe you don't. Maybe it's something else entirely. Maybe it's just having a soundtrack on in the background while you're concentrating on creative tasks. And great, that works too. The only way you can find out for sure is to be open to a little bit of experimentation on your stimming behavior. And the only time it is only particularly bad, so to speak, is if it's harming you in some sort of way. If, like, for example, I told you earlier about how for years in front of computer screens I would be going like this. The problem with that was that I would also be squeezing my hand. So I'd be very, very prone to hurting my wrist. And that is where these proved to be a necessity, because they gave my hand an alternative for something to grab in situations where I was concentrating or was particularly worked up about something or was worried about something. I hope you found that helpful. And if you liked today's video, like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon in the next video. Happy reading, happy writing, my friend.